Hearing your name called by the commissioner on draft night is a moment that represents a lifelong dream coming true for basketball players. It's the culmination of years of sacrifice, training, and perseverance, all rewarded in one unforgettable instant as they officially step into the NBA. From that point on, their professional journeys begin. But the reality is that not every player with NBA aspirations gets that moment. In fact, more than ever before, we're seeing players who go undrafted still find a way to carve out a role in the league. The path might be less glamorous, but their stories are often even more inspiring. And this year's draft class is no different. That brings us to today's video, where we'll be taking a closer look at 5 players who went undrafted but have the skill sets and determination to prove everyone wrong. These are the guys who could one day make teams regret passing on them. Before we dive in though, it turns out a good number of you watching aren't subscribed to the channel yet. So if you enjoy this kind of content, consider hitting that subscribe button. It really helps us out a lot, and it means a ton to know you're here supporting the channel. With that said, let's get started. The first undrafted player we're going to highlight is Eric Dixon from Villanova. Now, I'm not going to pretend it's a mystery why Dixon didn't hear his name called on draft night. The reasons are pretty straightforward. He's a fifth-year senior, he's already 24 years old, and he doesn't have much athleticism by NBA standards. Historically, those are 3 big red flags that almost always tank a player's draft stock. However, the league is evolving. More teams are starting to realize you can't build a roster solely around raw athleticism. Slower, highly skilled players are finding ways into rotations because they know how to play winning basketball. And that's exactly where Dixon stands out. He's one of the final products of the Jay Wright era at Villanova, a period defined by smart, fundamentally sound players who were taught how to win. This past season, Dixon led the entire country in scoring, averaging 23.3 points per game. Even more impressive was his efficiency. He shot 45% from the field and an outstanding 41% from beyond the arc. Dixon is a remarkably strong power forward who can score at all 3 levels. His footwork is textbook, his ball handling is polished, and his shooting stroke is as smooth as you'll find in any prospect, drafted or undrafted. In a league where floor spacing from the 4th spot is more valuable than ever, Dixon might be the best pure shooting power forward in his class. Of course, there are still valid concerns about who he'll be able to guard defensively, especially given his size and lateral quickness. But realistically, he won't be expected to play heavy minutes right away. His offensive skill set alone is enough to intrigue teams. After the draft, he signed a 2-way contract with the Los Angeles Lakers. For a team desperate for frontcourt depth and shooting, there's a legitimate path for Dixon to earn meaningful minutes if he continues to produce efficiently. The next player we're going to discuss is Ryan Nembhard out of Gonzaga. If there's a common theme among these overlooked prospects, it's that many of them are older seniors who lost some of their perceived upside simply because of their age. Nembhard is no exception. At 22, he's not exactly ancient, but the NBA has a tendency to prioritize younger players who can be developed over multiple seasons. That said, Nembhard just wrapped up the best season of his career, and it's honestly surprising he wasn't drafted. While he's undersized for a point guard and doesn't possess elite athleticism, he might be the most gifted playmaker in the entire draft class. It's difficult to envision a scenario where he doesn't at least become a reliable backup point guard who can steady a second unit. Nembhard led the nation in assists, dishing out nearly 10 per game while maintaining an absurd 4-to-1 assist-to-turnover ratio. That level of efficiency and vision is incredibly rare. He constantly scans the floor, always anticipating when and where his teammates will pop open so he can deliver pinpoint passes. In pick-and-roll situations, he's a master at reading coverages and exploiting defensive breakdowns. And if defenders sag off to protect the paint, he's perfectly comfortable knocking down open shots. Nembhard is a career 40% shooter from 3, so he can keep defenses honest. At the point guard position, basketball IQ and playmaking ability are arguably the most important attributes, even more than athleticism, and Nembhard has both in spades. After the draft, he signed a 2-way deal with the Dallas Mavericks, where he'll have the chance to learn from Kyrie Irving. That mentorship alone could accelerate his development and help him secure a long-term role in the NBA. Moving on to the third undrafted player with the tools to stick in the league, Bryce Williams from Nebraska. Williams is another example of how age can unfairly overshadow production and skill. He's 24, which undoubtedly hurt his draft stock, but almost every mock draft had him pegged as a second-round pick, at the very least. Standing at 6 feet 5 inches with a 6 feet 10 inches wingspan, Williams has the ideal size for a combo guard. This season, he averaged over 20 points per game, good for 12th in the nation, and did so with remarkable efficiency, shooting 47% from the field and 37% from deep. Williams is a calculated, versatile scorer who can create off the dribble, knock down jumpers off the catch, and cut effectively without the ball. His scoring package is diverse, and he's always willing to find the best shot, whether it's for himself or a teammate. One of the most intriguing aspects of his game is his post-scoring ability. Like Jalen Brunson, he thrives on exploiting mismatches, using outstanding footwork and soft touch around the basket. Defensively, he's not a liability either, which is often a sticking point for undrafted guards. He competes hard and uses his length to disrupt passing lanes and contest shots. Given all of that, it wouldn't surprise anyone if Williams establishes himself as a quality bench scorer who can swing momentum for a team in spurts. Next up is Mark Sears from Alabama. Sears is a cautionary tale of how timing can make or break your draft hopes. Had he declared for the draft a year earlier, he likely would have been selected. At that time, his stock was significantly higher after a season where he averaged 22 points on 51% shooting and 44% from three. But he returned for another year, and while his production was still solid, his scoring and shooting percentages dipped slightly, and he aged another year. As a fifth-year senior, that was enough to scare teams away. Still, Sears is undeniably one of the most talented scorers in this class. His ball handling is superb, and he has a knack for using his speed to manipulate defenders. Whether it's pulling up from deep or slashing to the rim, Sears constantly forces defenses to pick their poison. Though he's undersized, he works relentlessly on defense, doing everything he can to disrupt opposing ball handlers. Of course, his physical limitations will always create some mismatches, but his competitiveness helps mitigate that. Ultimately, his quickness and natural scoring instincts could be a valuable weapon for any team looking to add punch off the bench. Sears signed a two-way deal with the Milwaukee Bucks, a team that could be heading into a transitional phase depending on the future of Giannis Antetokounmpo. That situation might give Sears opportunities to showcase what he can do if the Bucks decide to prioritize development. Finally, let's talk about R.J. Lewis Jr. from St. John's. Unfortunately, Lewis's college career ended on a sour note. He was benched in March Madness after a rough shooting night and reportedly had a poor attitude. That moment seemed to overshadow the rest of his season. But looking at the full picture, it's important not to judge a player solely by a single low point. Lewis was named Big East Player of the Year because of his all-around impact as a two-way wing. Offensively, he's incredibly fast and excels in transition. He can grab a rebound and immediately push the tempo, creating easy buckets. In the half-court, he has a smooth mid-range pull-up and uses his long frame to shoot over defenders. His three-point shot is serviceable, though not a primary strength yet. Defensively, he's arguably even better. Lewis uses his size and length to generate steals, force turnovers, and disrupt passing lanes. His defensive awareness is impressive both on and off the ball, and he has a real knack for being in the right place at the right time. He's also an exceptional rebounder for a wing, regularly fighting bigger players for boards. After going undrafted, he signed a two-way contract with the Utah Jazz, a rebuilding franchise that should give him plenty of chances to grow alongside a young core. And that wraps up today's video. Make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and drop a comment below letting us know which of these undrafted players you think will prove everyone wrong and carve out a long NBA career. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all next time.